but it's almost. I'm here, so we're gonna. I'm just waiting for some time for everybody to join, and then we'll kick it off. Um, all right. I'm under the weather. What is going on with my data? Those that are watching me on I'm streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and then TikTok. All right. Those that are watching me on my Living with Diabetics on Facebook, due to poor wireless connection, your broadcast has been paused. Consider moving to find. All right. One of my. I'm gonna try to restart one of my iPad. Okay, it's fluctuating, so I have to do something. All right, I have to start all over again. That's harder. I have to start all over again. I believe. Let's see if this is gonna work. Okay, let me see if this is gonna work. I believe it's. All right. One of my shit, I'll of course post it. It's already too late. What is wrong with my internet? I'm trying to fix. I'm trying to fix something here. What's wrong with my internet? Okay, those that are watching me on the Living with Diabetes page, I might not be able to broadcast on that page because I'm having internet fluctuation. You can only watch me on the other Facebook page, on Managing Diabetics. You can only watch me there. Now, my data internet is fluctuating. Okay. Cruz, you're welcome. Mona Shabedi, you're welcome. Jacob, you're welcome. Sina, you're welcome. Cecilia, Divine, Marilyn, Neptune, Lucky, all of you have. If I did not mention your name, I did not ignore you. I'm just trying to see everybody here. All right. Okay. Can I? This can work, please. Okay. All right. You know what? Let's start. One of my internet is down. Let's start the topic. I'm trying to see if I can correct it on here. Let me see if I can. Just give me a few minutes, please. A few minutes, and let me see if I can correct it from here. All right, let me see if I can I'm trying to fix something here before we start. One of my this thing is all right. Let me start some because I can't fix it up here. Okay, those that are watching me on, I have Living with Diabetes page. Okay, my that I won't be able to stream on that page. You can only go to Managing Diabetics TV and watch me there. Okay, that is what I advise you guys to be on. Okay, hold on. All right. Okay, that is sorted out. Okay, that's good now. I'm ready to go. Um, okay, sorry about that. I've sorted it out. Okay, what I'm going to do today, I'll discuss two issues. Uh, Dylan on YouTube, you're welcome. All right. My colleague on YouTube, you're welcome. My colleague said hi. I'm also saying hi back to you on YouTube. All right. Yemin on YouTube, you're welcome. All right, those that are watching me on TikTok, you're welcome. And there's a lot there. I cannot mention your name. I have Mindy, I have Simon. If I did not mention your name, you are all welcome to today's topic. All right. Okay. I'll be discussing the effect of diabetics on your body. What is the effect of diabetics on your body? How do you feel when you become diabetic? Okay, how do you feel when you become diabetic? What are the effects? What must you be consigned when you have been diagnosed as a diabetic? What must you be consigned? Either you're a caregiver or you yourself you're a diabetic. So when you have been told that you're diabetics, what is your utmost consign? All right, to be called a diabetics. It affects the entirety of the whole body when you become diabetics. It's like your whole world changes, turned upside down. You're in a state of confusion when you become diabetic. Maybe you don't even have a clue what diabetics is all about. You don't even have a clue what diabetics is all about. So when you are being told you're a diabetics, you find it very difficult to cope. First of all, you'll be shocked that you've been called a diabetics. Within a twinkle of an eye, you see, at that point in time, you don't even know what hit you until when you go home, and then the whole thing assimilates into your system. Then you realize what is called to be a diabetic. How does it affect your body? Now, diabetes can affect many parts of your body. Once you become diabetics, you are racing against time to save your life, or diabetes is going to take your life. All right? So when you become diabetic, two things happen right from the first time you have been told you're diabetics. Two things happen. You are racing against time. It's either diabetes kill you or you win or win against diabetics. Please, if my audio is not clear, let me know in the comment section to adjust my audio. All right. All right. So diabetes can affect many parts of your body, including the heart, the kidneys, the eyes, the feet, and your legs. Now, when you become diabetics, there are two things you must be concerned about. It's your kidneys and your liver. These are the most two important organs you have to make sure you protect: your kidneys and your liver. Because when you become diabetic, the first two organs that it attack is your kidney and liver. Why? Because if I can destroy that kidney or liver, your survival rate will be reduced by 50% or less than 50%. So that is the first two organs that diabetes tend to attack: your kidney and liver, to destroy it and render you useless. Now, and that is what I've said in some of my videos, that once you are, they have a very good family doctor that has an insight how to treat diabetics. Once your medications, they also have to give you some medications or some tablet that's going to protect your kidney. All right? It is very important. So it attacks your kidneys, your eye, your feet, your leg, and your heart. Now the question you're going to say is that, how does it affect my heart? How does it affect my kidney? How does it affect my eyes? And how does it affect my feet? And that's where you have something we call neuropathy. Neuropathy have to do with your feet, nerves in your feet, nerve damages. Nephropathy have to do with your kidneys. Then retinopathy have to do with your eye. Now cholesterol have to do with your heart. Cardiovascular is going to cause you to have some cardiovascular issues. You develop some cardiovascular issues like stroke, or you have some cholesterol issues, or high blood pressure. So these are why they are interlinked, that diabetics affects most major organs of your body. So once you become diabetics, you are racing against time. So various complications are possible the longer you live with the conditions, and if you have high blood sugar levels over time. So if you allow sugar levels to linger in your system for a long period of time without getting rid of it or without bringing it down, that is when the complications set in. Because what happens is that when you have too much accumulations of sugar in your bloodstreams, it tends to damage the blood vessels and the nerves. And most of our organs in our bodies are connected with nerves and blood vessels. So if they render those blood vessels weak or the nerves weak, then blood is not going to circulate properly to those organs. So when you have too much sugar levels in your bloodstreams and you are not controlling it, and that is what doctors are going to tell you, tend to bring your sugar level down as soon as possible. When you are not controlling your sugar levels, you are not bringing them down as much as possible, as fast as possible, that is when the complications sets in. Okay, that is when the complications sets in, and they start damaging the nerves and the blood vessels. Now, when you hear the word diabetes, okay, your first thought are likely about high blood sugar levels. It's more than that. It's more than that. When you hear about high blood sugar levels, or when you hear about diabetics, it's more than you have to deal with high blood sugar levels. All right. Boris Baker, you're welcome. How are you? So blood sugar is often underestimated. The consequences of too much sugar levels in your bloodstreams are underestimated. Now, it's an underestimated component of your health. Now, when you have an imbalance in blood sugar levels over a period of time, what happens? It develops into diabetes. Now, the pancreas is what is responsible to the production of insulin. Now, what happened? Inside that pancreas, there are something we call beta cells. Beta cells is what is responsible in producing that hormone called insulin that your body needs to regulate sugar levels in your bloodstreams. Now, if your pancreas is not functioning properly or is not producing enough insulin that your body requires to regulate the amount of sugar levels in your bloodstreams, and then the sugar levels start accumulating in your bloodstreams, over a period of time, it goes above the normal levels, and that's how you develop diabetes. It's either the pancreas is not producing enough insulin that your body needs to regulate the sugar levels in your bloodstreams, or it's underproducing. The functionality is dead. Now, when we say the pancreas is not producing enough, that does not mean the pancreas is totally dead. The pancreas is functioning, but there's something called malfunction. It is either underproducing or overproducing. Underproducing means it's not producing enough insulin that your body requires to get rid of excess glucose level in your bloodstreams, and you become insulin resistant or insulin sensitive. Now, when it is producing more than your body requires, now your system doesn't know how to use those insulin, that will make you to develop diabetes. So there are components of in and against. One is underproduction and the other is overproduction, but the system doesn't know how to use it. So the pancreas come to play a role in why you develop diabetes, because it's not producing those insulin that your system need to regulate the amount of sugar levels in your bloodstreams. All right. Now, diabetes affect your body's ability to produce what? Produce or use insulin. All right. Now, a hormone, that is a hormone that allows your body to turn glucose what? Into energy. Now, despite that, we need those glucose. Now, what happens is that those glucose that are too much in your bloodstreams is what is converted into energy. Our body needs them. Now, for instance, if you are not a diabetic, it means your pancreas is functioning properly. The insulin is regulating the amount of sugar levels in your bloodstream. So when the sugar levels are too high in your bloodstreams, the brain sends a signal to the pancreas to release insulin to the bloodstream to get rid of those excess glucose levels into the cells. Now the cells is going to have access to them and then convert them into what? Energy that your body needs to use every day. Then the excess ones are stored in the liver in the form of glycogen. So when you run out of energy, it goes and brings those ones being stored in the liver and they reuse. So the cells need them. Those excess glucose levels is what the insulin get rid of, push them into the cells of your body where they are needed to be converted into energy. Now, if the cells is not having access to those excess glucose levels, it becomes accumulative in the bloodstreams, and that's why you develop diabetics. Now, the question now is, how do you treat diabetics? Because if you don't treat it, it's going to cause some complications. It's going to affect your body systems. All right? So, I'm going to go through a series of things. Dylan, you're welcome. Okay? I'm going to go through a series of things to analyze to you guys. Now, first of all, we're discussing how it affects your body. Number one is risk of stroke. Risk of what? Stroke. Okay, risk of stroke for someone with diabetes is 4 times. Okay, so if you develop diabetes and you are not controlling your sugar level, or you are not treating your sugar level very well, you are not being concerned about too much sugar in your bloodstreams, you are 4 times the normal person without diabetes to develop stroke. Okay, you are 4 times higher than for no one with diabetes develop stroke. We're discussing about the effects of diabetes in your body. Failure to control your sugar level. All right, failure to keep an eye on your sugar level, and you're diabetes, you are at a higher risk, 4 times at a higher risk than the person that is not diabetic to develop strokes. And that is where the cholesterol issues comes in. We have the LDL, and we have the HDL, the good cholesterol and the bad cholesterol. Okay, so when we talk about cardiovascular disease, the heart disease, this is where cholesterol issues come, cholesterol and high blood pressure. Okay, so the effect on your body is that you are 4 times more than the person without diabetes to develop stroke if you're a diabetic and you're not controlling your sugar level. All right, now extreme test is the second effect. Extreme test is the second effect. All right, extreme test is the second effect for those that are living with diabetes. Now, what do I say about extreme test? Hold on. Martha Makubalan, you're welcome. Trying to see something here. I hope you guys can hear me properly. Okay, I hope you guys can hear me properly. All right, now, extreme test. All right. Extreme test. have a watery eye, running nose, and itching eye. So I'm under the weather. So how does extreme test comes in? How does it affect your body? Now, let me go to the washroom and clear my nose. I'll be right back. Okay, I'll be right back. Let me go to the washroom. Sorry about that. I've been having some watery eye, itching nose, since last night. I think I got it from the gym. When you go to the gym and you see some people sneezing in the gym, and then I feel this. I feel the symptoms last night when I came back from the gym. Something is wrong with this. I don't know why people come with all those things into the gym. Okay, let's talk about the extreme test. Now, I've said this before. Extreme test is one of the most first noticeable symptoms of diabetics. It means you are drinking a lot of water. Drinking a lot of water is one of the symptoms you're going to notice in early stages of your diabetes, that something is wrong with your system. You are drinking a lot of water and you are peeing consistently. You are urinating consistently. Every second you are running into the washroom, peeing, and also blurry vision. These are the 2 or 3 noticeable symptoms of diabetes. So when you are drinking a lot of water, that what is happening to your system is that because you are peeing a lot, when you are peeing, 2 things are occurring in your body. Your liver is working extra hard, extra times, twice the normal rate of what it's working, to filter the excess sugar, excess glucose level, or excess sugar in your bloodstream out of your system. Since the cells cannot have access to those excess glucose level, what happens is that your kidney is going to go into overdrive to work over hard over time to get rid of those excess glucose level through urination out of your system. Now, while you are peeing a lot to get rid of those excess glucose level out of your system, your body is also losing fluid at the same time. Okay, so because you are losing fluid through the urination, you'll be drinking a lot of water, so you become dehydrated. So that's why you're going to be drinking a lot of water all the time. Okay, so that is one of the notable symptoms of diabetics when you notice you are drinking a lot of water. So that's one of the effects of diabetes on your system. All right. Now, there's another one, is you have a sweet smelling breath. You have a sweet smelling breath. Okay. When you have a sweet smelling breath, when you open your mouth, you see your breath looks so sweet. That indicates the presence of ketones. Okay? That is a presence of high ketones in your blood. Okay? Which is a complication of diabetes. So when you have a sweet smelling breath, it indicates you have a high level of ketones in your system. And that is a serious complication of diabetes. How do your body produce ketones to become acidic? When you have ketones in your system, and if you don't take care of it, it's going to become acidic, and high level of a ketone in your blood is a serious complication of diabetes. So when you have a sweet smelling breath, that indicates a presence of what? Ketones, high level of ketones in your system, and that is a serious complications of diabetics. All right. Now let's look at risk of heart disease. Risk of heart disease. Let's look at now when you have high blood pressure, okay. All right. I'll deal with it. So when you have, you can have, as a diabetics, your risk of developing heart disease is high. That is a cardiovascular disease. So when you have high blood pressure and also a damaged blood vessels, okay, a high blood pressure, okay, damaged blood vessels can also put a strain in your heart. Just imagine you have your blood vessels. Now, one thing you have to understand about blood vessels, most of the nutrients that our body needs are being transported through the blood. So when your blood vessels are damaged and then you have high blood pressure, it put a strain on the heart, and that can lead you to develop high cardiovascular disease. Now, when you have high blood vessels are weak or damaged, there will be no easy flow of blood from one point to another, because there should be circulation of blood in your system. So when you have weakened or damaged blood vessels, it put a heavy strain on the heart. The palpitation and the pumping of blood in and out lessen. Okay, and that's how you develop heart attack. Okay, so how does diabetes affect your body is that it put you have a high risk of what? A heart disease, because what? You have a weakened or damaged blood vessels and also a high blood pressure. These two components put a strain on your heart, and that can lead you to develop what is called cardiovascular disease. All right. Now the next one is fatigue and lack of energy. Okay, fatigue and lack of energy. This is also one of the symptoms of diabetics. When you have fatigue and lack of energy. I'm going to answer your question. Okay, let me just finish this. I'm going to answer your question. All right, fatigue and lack of energy. Okay, two questions. I'm going to answer them. All right. Now, because your kidney is working overtime to get rid of those excess glucose levels from your bloodstreams, it is working overtime. Now, when the overall kidney, your kidney and your pancreas develop issue due to the strain, they are working extra hard to get rid of those excess levels. Can make you to be what? Tired. Okay? Can make you to be what? Tired. Your kidney is working overtime more than the normal rate that is supposed to work to get rid of those excess glucose level. And then your pancreas is also have problem issues. It's either it's not producing enough insulin or it's overproducing. The combination of those two things, okay, can make you feel more tired. And this can also make you harder for you to what? Concentrate. So that is why I said, okay, if you're a diabetic or you're a caregiver, all right, you're taking care of somebody, make sure if you have a very good doctor treating you, apart from the medication you are taking, they should be able to give you something to protect your kidneys. Kidney and liver are two vital organs in your body that you can't find them anywhere. You have to get a donor to give you one for survival. So that is why it is important once you develop diabetes to make sure you protect your kidney and liver at all times. Do not allow your sugar levels to keep rising to an extent it becomes too much and they start causing damages to your nerves and blood vessels. Once it weakens the blood vessels, that makes it impossible for blood to flow. And if care is not taken, there's going to be leakages. And that causes you more problem. All right? I don't know, somebody. Vishu, I said hi. What do you think they said? Visual, yes, I didn't say, I've just seen your hi here and your question. I don't understand your question here. Visual on YouTube, I say hi. All right. Well, Simon joined, Elizabeth Bezel joined, and L.A. Go Kamea joined. All right. I'm going to answer. There's a question that comes in here. Let me see. All right. There's a question that comes in here. Let me go to that question. So, yeah, I'm trying to look at the question. Hold on, I'm trying to get sort your questions out here. I'm not. I think I have discussed this issue before. All right. I have discussed this issue before about brittle diabetics. Your question is about brittle diabetics. Okay, brittle diabetics. I'm going to just say it is used to refer unexplained fluctuation of glucose levels in certain people. Okay. As a diabetic, sometimes you have fluctuation of your sugar level. Sometimes it's high, sometimes it's low, sometimes it's normal. So when you have consistent or persistent fluctuation of your sugar levels, in certain people, not every diabetics experience brittle diabetics. So there's a constant fluctuation of your sugar levels. That is what we refer to as brittle diabetics. Now, this term brittle diabetes now is, they used to use it before, but now it has been changed. Okay. Okay. So it has been changed. We don't use brittle diabetics anymore. So we refer them as diabetics. Because even type 1 diabetes, so in type 1 diabetes, you have fluctuation of your sugar levels all the time. But when we talk about brittle diabetes, we're talking about fluctuations of your sugar levels all the time. They go up, they go down, they stabilize. And that's what we refer to as brittle diabetics. I've discussed that topic. I would recommend you to watch that video. I've discussed it before, but the term brittle diabetics is diabetics who have extreme fluctuations, constant fluctuations all the time. Their sugar levels keep fluctuating up, down, and stabilizing. That's what we refer to as brittle diabetics. Okay? There's nothing more to it. It's just you have consistent fluctuation of your sugar levels up and down. And that is what we refer to as brittle diabetics. Okay, let's go back to what we're discussing and then take it there. So we're discussing the effect. For those that are joining us now, we are discussing the effect of diabetes on our body. So the next one is pancreas malfunction. Okay. So when we say pancreas malfunction, and that is what I said in my intro, pancreas, beta cells is located in the center of pancreas. And that is what is, the beta cell is what produces that hormone called insulin. But you would have called them pancreas is responsible for producing insulin. Yes, you are correct, because it's the pancreas. But beta cells are located in the center of the pancreas. So when there's a malfunction of the pancreas, two things are happening at the same time. It's either the reason why you become diabetic, okay, you have too much sugar level in your bloodstreams. Why do you have too much sugar level in your bloodstreams? Why? There are two things happening in your pancreas. Now, the pancreas is supposed to produce enough insulin. So, for instance, when your sugar level goes high, the brain is going to send a signal to the pancreas to release some insulin to get rid of those excess glucose level and push them into the cells. So, you become diabetics. Okay, when your sugar level is high, the brain sends a signal to the pancreas. It's not producing enough insulin that you needed to get rid of those excess glucose level. So, because you are not producing enough insulin, there will be an accumulation of sugar levels in your bloodstreams, and that is going to result in you become what? Diabetics. Or the same pancreas is overproducing more than enough insulin that you needed to get rid of those excess glucose levels, but your body is producing too much insulin, but your system doesn't know how to use it to get rid of those excess glucose. That is why you become what? Diabetics. So when we say pancreatic malfunction, okay, the body, the diabetes makes it impossible. It affects your pancreas to produce more insulin or to regulate the amount of insulin released to the body to control the excess glucose levels in your system. So that's what we refer to as pancreas malfunctions, and that's how diabetes affect your body. It affects the pancreas. Now, the next one is excessive urination. It's also one of the symptoms of diabetes. The most noticeable symptoms of diabetes is excessive urination. All right, when you are peeing more than enough. So when you are rushing into the washroom all the time, you're rushing into the washroom all the time, you're rushing into the washroom all the time, you just come out, you go in again. If that happens to you, that's something you have to say, you know what, something is wrong with my body. Why am I peeing? Why am I going to the washroom all the time? It means that's when you have to go and see a doctor to run a test. So when you have constant peeing, okay, that's a symptom of diabetes. And that is one area, or that's how diabetes affect your system or affect your body with constant urination. Now the next one is that diabetes can also damage your blood vessels. Okay, diabetes can also damage your blood vessels. I've said it before. Damage your blood vessels, damage your nerves. When you have persistent or constant too much sugar levels in your bloodstreams, the purpose of diabetes, or the purpose why there are too much sugar in your system, is to cause you complications, to damage the nerves and to damage the blood, to weaken the blood vessels and at the same time damage it. Now, once the nerves are completely damaged, blood cannot reach in those areas. SJ, you're welcome. All right. So once you have damaged blood vessels or damaged nerves, okay, blood is not going to flow in those areas. Now, when you have a damaged blood vessels, what happens? Most of the nutrient that you need to get from one area to the body might not get them because your blood vessels are weak. Blood cannot flow into them. Okay, bloods are weak, leading to a variety of symptoms, and damage to the blood vessels can also make it impossible for you to live. Now, one thing in that blood vessels, in that blood, is oxygen. Oxygen must get to the brain. So anything that hinders blood to flow properly through the blood to get oxygen to the brain, your survival is less. Imagine you cannot get oxygen to your brain. In less than 5 minutes, you'll be dead. All right? So when you have a damaged nerves, that's when you start experiencing this retinopathy, neuropathy, nephropathy, because of the presence of too much sugar levels in your bloodstreams. That is how diabetes affect our body, by damaging our blood vessels, by weakening our nerves, damaging them, making them impossible for blood to flow to those areas. And when blood are not flowing in those areas, that is where it's having complications of what? Diabetes. All right? I don't know if I'm making sense. Now, food problems. Okay? Food problems, you can develop food problems, and that is where amputation comes in. So if you don't want to lose your leg, any part of your limbs or any part of your body, okay, if you're a diabetics, you got to make sure that you don't have any wound in any part of your food. Because when you have wound in any part of your food, that you might attract infection. And because you're a diabetic, your white blood cells, your defense immunity systems are weak. And when an infection penetrates through those wounds, and you're a diabetic, because of too much sugar levels in your bloodstreams, those wounds cannot heal on time. Well, that's one fact you have to understand. That because you're a diabetic, when your sugar levels are high and you have an open wound, that wound is not going to heal. It's going to take a long time to heal because your sugar levels are too high. For that wound to heal properly, your sugar level must come down, maintaining at the regular levels. So due to you have an open wound for a long period of time, you are inviting infection to go into that system. And when there's a penetration of infection, that can lead to an amputation to save your life. So if you see people with diabetics, there are people who are diabetics, they can't even have feeling in their food because those nerves in those areas are completely dead. So even if they have any wound in those areas, they don't even know they have a wound in those areas because there's no feeling. And that is how infection can penetrate in those areas and cause serious damage that can lead you to an amputation. All right? Let me see what is happening on YouTube. Okay. Now, we're going to look at okay. All right. So, Yusuf, you are welcome. Obapa, you are welcome on TikTok. Now, let's talk about endocrine, excretory or digestive systems. How does diabetics affect those areas? Your digestive area, your excretory area, and also your endocrine. In my intro, I told you guys diabetes causes a lot of problems to every part of your body. There is no any part of your body that is immune from an attack from diabetes if you have constant and persistent too much of sugar levels in your bloodstreams. I keep emphasizing all the time that it's important you take care of your sugar levels at all times. It is important you make sure you monitor your sugar levels at all times, and when you notice they are high, do as much as you can to bring them down. As I said before on in my previous videos, I said diabetes does not kill. What kills you is the complications of diabetes. Failure to get rid of those excess glucose levels is going to lead you to have some complication that may be fatal to your entire being. So now, if your pancreas produces little or no insulin, okay, or if your body can use it, two things: your pancreas is not producing enough insulin that your body needs, so it's not going to take care of those excess glucose levels. Or the pancreas is producing enough insulin that your body needs, but the system doesn't know how to use it. Now, other hormones are used to turn fat into energy. All right? This can create a high level of toxic chemicals, including acid and ketones bodies. So when those insulins cannot be used properly to regulate amount of glucose level in your bloodstreams, or when the pancreas is not producing enough insulin, what happens? That can create a lot of toxic chemicals in your system. Now your body is going to find another way to get those hormones that they need to regulate the amount of glucose levels in your bloodstreams. And in that process, that is where ketone are produced. Ketone is an acidic and very dangerous. A high level of ketones in your bloodstream can kill you instantly. And that's what is called diabetes ketoacidosis. That is what is called diabetes ketoacidosis. So in the process of finding another way to regulate or provide you energy that the body needs, because you are weak and tired, the body is going to find another way to get those energies. In the process of recreating those energies, ketones are produced, which is too acidic to your health. And that is what we refer to as diabetes ketoacidosis. All right? And then you're welcome. So diabetes ketoacidosis is a serious complications of what? Of this disease, because they are too acidic. I wouldn't like them to have too much of ketoacidosis in your system, coupled that with diabetics. All right, coupled that with diabetics. So I have 2 or 3 questions here. Now, let's talk about protein in the urine. Let's talk about protein in the urine. There shouldn't be any presence of protein in urine at any times. I've said it all the time. There shouldn't be any presence of protein or sugar or even blood found in your urine at all times, anytime. So when you have high levels of protein in your urine, that means that your kidney have some damage and aren't functioning well. So when you have presence of protein in your urine, then you have to check your kidney to see. That means there's a problem with your kidney. And that's why you have to go and do a test to make sure that your kidneys are functioning properly. Develop this habit that when you notice something is wrong, go and see a doctor. Avoid self-medication. So when at any time there's a presence of protein in your urine, it indicates one thing, that there's a problem with your kidney. Now, the same thing applies when you have too much of sugar in your urine. There shouldn't be any way to find sugar in your urine, because when you have too sugar in your urine, it indicates that you are diabetic. Now, when you notice a blood, I've said it to you guys, you see a trace of blood in your urine, go and see a doctor. That's a serious concern, health concern. Now, one thing you guys have to understand in terms of blood, when you are peeing, okay, you might not see a blood with your typical eye. You can't even see. The urine might be as clear as possible. The only way they will tell you there's a blood in your urine is when it goes under microscope. And they tell you will find blood in your urine. And he said, but you're going to be surprised, because I was peeing, I didn't see any blood. So there are some urine that you cannot see with your naked eye. They have to be go through under microscope. Now, if at any time they told you there's a blood in your urine, follow it up. Do not just sidestep it. Follow it up. Because that's early symptoms of something greater to happen in the future. If you ignore it, by the time it has progressed to the final stage, and by the time you start seeing blood with your naked eye, it's too late. So, at the early stage of something, you might not see the blood in your urine with your naked eye. You have to go under microscope. But if you ignore it without doing something about it or investigating why there is presence of blood in my urine, and you allow it to lie, and then the next thing you want to pee one day and you are peeing blood, that has gone to an advanced stage. And by the time you get to the hospital, you'll be hearing it's already too late. You can make it. Go and write your will. So that is why anytime you see presence of blood in your urine, or you're being told there's a presence of blood in your urine, try to follow it up. See a specialist, see a urologist to find out why there's blood in your urine. Mike Hogg, is this religion? Mike Hogg, we don't talk religion here. I don't know where you get that. All right? We don't talk religion here. So these are tips you have to follow. Presence of protein in your urine means your kidney is not functioning. There's something wrong with your kidney. So try to investigate to find out where there is presence of protein in your urine. Let me get rid of this question. Yes. If you have infection, any type of infection can stack up your sugar level. So diabetes can also raise your risk of bacterial, fungal, or yeast infections. Okay, your feet are the most vulnerable area to be infected from. That is why I told you guys, make sure you check your feet as a diabetic. Make sure you bring out time to check your feet at all times. Check your feet up to make sure there's no cut or blisters. And if there's any cut or blisters, try to seal it up. As a diabetic, you have a weakened immune system. Your defense, your white blood cells are not functioning properly. So that is why you have to make sure you check your food at all times to make sure there's no cut, blisters, or an open wound. because that is an easier way for an infection to penetrate and cause you more damages. So once you become diabetic, what you have to understand is that your immune systems are weak. Your immune system is what? Is weak. Okay? Your white blood cells are weak. They cannot defend you against some of the serious infections. So that is why I say diabetics, you have to check your feet at all times. Checking your feet at all times is necessary to make sure there's no open wound or blisters or any cut, because that is an easiest way for an infection to penetrate. So make sure you check your feet at all times. Okay? Now let's talk about how does it affect the eye. Retinopathy is what we call that. Okay? How does it affect eye? Diabetes affects your eye. Retinopathy. There are thousands of nerves that are connected to your eye, to the retina. So when you have presence of too much blood sugar levels in your bloodstreams, it's going to damage those nerves and they weaken the blood vessels. And when they weaken the blood vessels, it could be leaking. That can also cause you to have some eyesight issues. You cannot, that's why as a diabetes, you'll be told to constantly go on checking your eye either every 6 months or yearly to make sure that everything is good. Once you become diabetic, you have to be conscious of your eyes, because if you are not the type that goes to check your eye at all times, don't be surprised. You might go to sleep, okay, wake up one day blind, because you don't know what is happening at the back of your eye, because you neglected that aspect of not going to check your eye as a diabetic. So diabetics affect your eye. If you have constant too much sugar levels in your bloodstream, that can cause you to have a total or partial eye loss. All right? It's going to make you to have total or partial eye loss. I have to eat. I'm chewing plantain. So, okay, your question, you want me to explain how kidney diabetes can damage your kidney. Okay, diabetes. Okay, let me just summarize it. You want to know how diabetes can damage your kidney. Once your kidney have been damaged, it affects their ability to filter waste. Kidney filter waste. It allows the good ones that are beneficial to your health to go through, and the ones that are not beneficial are being filtered out as waste. So when your kidneys are damaged because due to poor treatment of diabetes, it affects the ability to filter waste from your blood. So if your doctor detects, microalbuminuria, okay, in your system, or increased amount of protein in your urine, it could be a sign that your kidney aren't functioning properly. And that is why I said in your A1C test, when you're going to do your A1C test every 3 months, always make sure you check your kidney filtration rate. Those filtration rates are going to give you an idea the percentage of your kidney is functioning. If your kidney is functioning below 30, below 15, that means you have a serious kidney damage. You need a transplant. Your kidney must be in good condition above 60 and above filtration rate to be okay. Anything below 50, fine, you are in stage 2. But once you go down to stage 3, it's 30, stage 4 is below 30, 15. That means you have a serious kidney damage, you need a transplant. So I always advise everybody to check the kidney filtration rate to see how their kidneys are functioning when you're doing your A1C test. All right? So if you have diabetes, your doctor will evaluate your nephropathy to help prevent any irreversible kidney damage, okay, or kidney failure. So kidney disease related to diabetes can also be called diabetic neuropathy, okay. So, and most of the time they're going to send it to see what? A specialist, a nephrologist, okay. Now this condition doesn't show symptoms until on the later stage. When you have diabetes nephropathy, on the early stages you don't have symptoms. It is when it has been advanced to the later stage that is when you start seeing some symptoms of serious kidney damage. All right. So it affects the ability to filter waste once you have serious kidney damage due to poor treatment of diabetes. Okay. Zorin, you're welcome. Let's go to the next question. I want to Facebook. You're quiet today, Facebook. All right. Facebook, you're quiet today. What is going on? All right. So, all right. John Rich, you're welcome. So let's summarize the long-term effects of diabetes in our body. Let me summarize that, and then I'll go to the other topic. Now, the long-term effects of diabetes include damage to what? To large and small blood vessels, which can lead to what? To heart attack and stroke, and also problem with the kidneys, the eyes, the feet, and the nerves. Okay? Now, the good news is that the risk of long-term effect of diabetes can be what? Reduced. How do you reduce it? Is by managing your diabetes situations effectively. Doing what those things doctors ask you to do at all times, exercising, eating a healthy food, reducing your weight, taking your medications. Those are going to help you, okay, to mitigate against complications of diabetes. Now, regular screening is important to detect diabetes-related conditions or problem. It is also important to keep your waist management, okay, your waist measurement, your blood pressure, your blood glucose levels, okay, your HbA1c, and also cholesterol within recommended age, especially your HbA1c. I've seen some results that their glucose levels are tipping downwards and the HbA1c is tipping upwards. There's something wrong with that. Because your HbA1c is what doctors use to evaluate your treatment plan for diabetes. So they're supposed to trend in the same directions with your diabetes, the one you check at home, because if your diabetes is too high, your HbA1c is supposed to be too high. So they shouldn't be going opposite of each other. All right. Now, it is very important that you don't smoke if you have diabetes, and also increases your likelihood of health problems. So once you become diabetes, stopping smoking is recommended at all times. To stop smoking because it's not good for you as a diabetes, and at the same time it interferes with the medications you are taking. I'm taking banana chips. No, plantain chips. All right. Now, do we have any question on that area? Do we have any question on that area? On the effect of diabetes on our body? Smoking is bad to everybody. Okay, even if you are not a smoker, secondhand smoke is, even if you are not a smoker, secondhand smoke is so dangerous for you. So even if you are not a smoker, there's something we call secondhand smoke. That secondhand smoke is so dangerous for you that it's not smoking. All right, so that is it. I'm waiting for more questions before I switch to the second topic. I'm going to discuss another topic briefly, okay, to catch up with the time. I don't know why I'm feeling. I don't know why I'm feeling so tired this morning. I'm feeling tired this morning. I don't know why I'm feeling tired this morning. I've been up since 5 o'clock, doing laundry since 5 o'clock, and cooking. So I think it's catching up with me. All right, so so how do we reduce Lazy Lab? Brad says eating aren't good for diabetics. It's not that eating not good for diabetics, it's that you have to know the amount of food that you eat. You have to eat, but now you have to know the size of the food you are eating and what is the content of the food you are eating. As a diabetic, you must eat a balanced, healthy diet. Now the question is that you have to determine what is the quantity of the food you are eating, because the larger the amount of food you eat, the larger the carbs that is in them. So you have to reduce the carb. So that means you have to be eating in a smaller quantity, and that food must be healthy. Okay, that food must be healthy. Now, how do you reduce the long-term effect of diabetes? How do you reduce it? Anybody want plantain chips? I'm reading something here and I'm just laughing. TikTok. What is going on TikTok? You guys are silent, no question. So, how do you reduce the long-term effect of diabetics? Okay, now You can reduce the risk of long-term effects of diabetes by keeping your blood pressure what? Normal. Your blood glucose level normal. Doing everything that is expected of you normal. Anything that can make you to avoid the complications is what you need. So keeping your blood glucose level normal is good. Keeping your blood pressure normal is good, and keeping your cholesterol levels is also good within the recommended age. So these three key things, okay, have to do about your glucose levels, and that once you're able to live on a straight line for a longer period of time, then you're going to escape the long-term effect of those diabetics. You're going to avoid getting complications of diabetics. Now, what you have to worry is the complications and not the diabetes itself. The complications is what is going to give you health issues. And that is why at all times you have been advised to bring down your sugar levels at all times and eat healthy, exercise, drink a lot of water, okay, control your cravings at all times, and also have enough sleep. Exercise, reduce your weight, make sure your cholesterol levels are okay, make sure your blood pressures are okay. When all these things are fall in line, okay, you live healthy without getting worried about the complications of diabetics. Okay? So, the long-term effect to reduce it is keeping your blood pressure normal, keeping your cholesterol level normal, your glucose levels normal. This is how to avoid the long-term risk effect of diabetes on our system, on our body. Okay? Yeah, walnut, walnut are very good for you, very low. Yeah, walnut is okay. Yeah, walnut is okay. I'm reading something here that is making me laugh. All right. Well, all right. Avoid alcohol if you're diabetic. Avoid alcohol if you're diabetic. Limit the intake of alcohol if you drink alcohol. Okay, it's going to interfere with your medications. But as a diabetic, limit and avoid. I'll prefer you to avoid taking alcohol once on medications because it's going to interfere with your medications and also some of the tests you're going to go. So, meantime, avoid alcohol once you're diabetics. Limiting it is stretching it. I don't even advise people to limit it, just avoid it. Avoid it. Work hard to make sure you get rid of your diabetes or make sure everything's okay for you. Okay? It said, don't drink alcohol, it is the devil's work. Let me go to TikTok. What is happening on TikTok? No, I won't allow that. Okay. Drinking a lot of water is a symptom of diabetes. Okay. If that's what you're asking, drinking a lot of water is a symptom of diabetes. Frequent urination is a symptom of diabetes. Blurry vision is a symptom of diabetes. Fatigue is a symptom of diabetes. Okay. Now, okay, I'll give you guys 4. now, no, I said, hold on, let me read it properly, just hold on. What I said is that if you have symptoms of diabetics, okay, if you have symptoms of diabetics, get rid of those symptoms of diabetics. If you don't get rid of those symptoms, you have to treat the underlying cause of those symptoms to get rid of those symptoms. You cannot attack the symptoms and leave the underlying cause. First of all, identify what is the root cause of your symptoms, get rid of it to get rid of the symptoms. So, doctors are going to tell you we don't treat symptoms, we treat the causes. So, you have to first of all identify the root cause of that problem to tackle the main issue. So, when you develop a symptom, try to deal with the underlying cause. Is by dealing with the underlying cause that you get rid of those symptoms. Okay? All right. So yeah, we're making progress. Yeah. Tired. Any more question? Okay. Let me repeat what I just said, Eddie. Once you are a diabetic, your immune systems are low, are weak. They are not as strong as when you're not a diabetic. Now, once your immune systems are low, your white blood cells cannot, because the white blood cells are supposed to be your defense. But because you have diabetics, your immune systems are weak. So what should you do to support your immune system and reduce the risk of infection? What and what? Yep. So how do we support our immune system and also reduce the risk of infection? How? Is by keeping your blood glucose levels within the recommended range. Okay, constantly keeping your, I hear diabetes is reversible. Lazy Lab, I'm going to come to that. Let me answer this question and I'm going to answer your question on YouTube. You have two questions there. I'm going to answer them. So how do we support our immune system and reduce the risk of infection? Is by what? Keeping our blood glucose levels within recommended age at all times. 2, getting enough sleep. All right. Washing your hands routinely. Always wash your hand routinely. Okay. And then seeing your doctor if you think you have an infection that have taken so long to heal. Now, have a yearly influenza or immunization. All right. Asking your doctor about pneumonia vaccine, especially that you're over 65. So you have to have a yearly influenza or flu immunizations, washing your hand regularly, getting enough sleep, keeping your blood glucose levels within range, and also as advised by your doctor. So that's how to support your immune system. All right. Now let me go to Lars on YouTube says, is there any insulin alternative? Last lab at right. Your first question says on YouTube, you say, is there any insulin alternative? I don't understand what you mean by insulin alternatives, but we have different type of insulin depending on the severity of your diabetic. If you are asking, do we have different type of insulin? Yes. But when you talk about alternative, no. Now, one thing you have to understand is that if you have type 1 diabetics, you are dependent on insulin. If you have type 2 diabetes, you are dependent on oral medications or no medications at all. So we have various insulin, different type of insulin, depending on the nature of your diabetes. But when we talk about alternative, the alternative I can recommend to you is that you don't even take anything, you just go on a special diet, make a lifestyle changes, be active, watch what you eat, then see if it's going to solve the issue of insulin. Then once you have type 1 diabetics, you are dependent on insulin. So you must at all times carry your insulin. Now, there are different types of insulin. We have the long range, we have the intermediate, we have the short range, if that is what you're asking. Or if you're looking for alternative outside the box of insulin, then there is none. There is none. Okay? Now let's go to, you say, I hear diabetes is reversible. That's your second question. You say you hear the diabetes are reversible. I'm chewing plantain chips. Now, your second question, it says, I hear the diabetes is reversible. Okay. When we talk about reversible, it depends what you understand by the word reversible. Can you send diabetes into remission? The answer is yes. Can you reverse diabetes? The answer is what? Yes. When we say diabetes irreversible, does not mean it's when you reverse it, it has been cured permanently. No. Diabetes has no cure and it is not curable. But with life modifications, you can live with diabetes for a longer period of time. So there is nothing like it's curable. Diabetes is not curable. But reversing diabetes or sending diabetes into remission does not mean it has been cured. You are still a diabetic. When we say diabetes is reversible, it means for a period of 2 years, constantly 2 years, you are visiting your doctor and he has been testing you, your HbA1c, and each time your result comes back, it's still normal. It doesn't go high. So we need at least 2 years record of your medical checkups to now classify you medically that your diabetes is not in remission. You need 2 years record, constant monitoring of your sugar level every 3 months for 2 years. And then look at the numbers there to see within those 2 years period, has your sugar level has ever gone high or low. But if it is consistent anytime you go and do your test for 2 years, now doctors can refer you as your diabetes is being in remission. Now you might not be under medications. But once we say diabetes has been reversed, does not mean it has been cured. It can come back the following day. When you just forget and start eating anyhow. And then by the time you know, your diabetes is back over. So reversing diabetes is yes, but it's not the same thing as curing diabetes. Diabetes cannot be cured. All right? I believe I've answered your question, Lazilab. Do you have any more question? I need more question. Hello, King. How are you? Lazy Lab? I believe I've answered your question, Lazy Lab. King, how are you? We are waiting for more questions. You say you don't trust the jab. I don't know what you don't trust the jab all around. King is on fire, coming with love. Okay. Wow, 2-0. Man City is winning. I'm waiting for more questions while I'm eating my plantain chips. Let me see what is happening. Facebook, you guys are quiet today. Nobody, I hope my Facebook is on. Facebook is quiet today. Not even high from Facebook. This is not usual. Not even if please if anybody's watching me on Facebook, I want you guys to let me know because it's just quiet. This is unusual. If you're on Facebook watching me, can you send me a comment? Let me know if it's working. If it's streaming, it's just quiet. I'm only busy on TikTok and YouTube, but Facebook is quiet today. If you're watching me on Facebook, can you send me a hi on the comment section? Let me make sure it's streaming on Facebook. Or is it the time? No, this is unusual because Facebook is always busy. Today has been so nobody even say hi. Hold on, let me see. I don't know what is going on here. Okay. I want to see something. I want to test something. Um, this is unusual on Facebook. For let's go quiet. I need somebody on Facebook to confirm because if I'm streaming on Facebook, because you guys are just quiet. Let me see somebody. I can't see it there. I can't see it there. So I need somebody on Facebook to. Your message is not coming through. I think something is wrong with my Facebook. All right. Do we have more questions? The floor is open for anybody to ask questions. Do you guys have more questions? All right, let me see. I'm waiting for question. Your message is not coming through, so I can't see them. YouTube is hiding them, so you said they are being held for review. I'm going to review it later. So